Hey, we live?
Yeah, we're live.
All right.
I don't see anybody here though, so I think we're still good.
Now we're live. Now we're live. I think. I'm not allowed to do the same intro I normally do, according to Carlos.
Right.
So, hi, Facebook friends.
What's going on, landlords? How we doing today?
There
I
you
hope
go.
everybody had a good holiday weekend. Um, as always, Mr. Steve White's going to be here answering questions, and I will be his sidekick.
Carlos Hennings.
I'm here for the comedy. Felicia, welcome.
Felicia's here. Ashley just gave me the word she can see and hear us, so I think we're good to go.
Hopefully, we sound better.
Yeah, so we're using a different mic. Hopefully, you guys can hear us pretty well. Ashley, just give me some sort of message if you think we need to get closer to the mic or something like that. But last time we tried this, we crashed we kept crashing Facebook. So
Yeah.
hopefully that doesn't happen.
Felicia, give us a thumbs up if you can hear us and we sound good.
Yeah, and Katie, I see Katie's in here. So Katie is RentPrep's very own senior screener. So it's great to see Katie and Brittany. Hello, Brittany, as well.
What was that one show back in the 80s where they used to hold the mirror up? I see Brittany and Felicia. You remember that? The magic mirror they used to do at the very end?
I think it was Romper Room.
Was that Romper Room?
Yeah.
That was Romper Room.
I see Katie.
I see
She's
Brittany.
a doobie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not a doobie. I don't think
Oh.
they did that.
Oh, okay.
All right. So without further ado, looks like we got more and more people coming in, which is good. Let everybody know, hey, to log in and check this out. We're going to do things a little bit differently than we typically do. Normally we get the questions prior to the show, but what we have noticed is there's been quite a bit of traffic on our Facebook Landlord page. If you're not already a part of the group, go on to it. It's Rentbook or Rentbook. Now you got me with Romper Room.
Yeah, it's Rentbook. Go to Rentbook. No, and how they gonna? They're already, if they're here, they're in the Facebook community. So
Well, perfect.
yeah, unless you're watching this on YouTube, then join the Facebook community, Rent
Yeah.
Prep for Landlords.
So what we're going to do differently is we're going to address, or not address, but discuss some of the topics that we've been seeing over the past week or so with certain questions about product, decision making, things like that. We're also going to get to your general questions as well. But I think I owe it to at least Felicia here. Felicia was the first one logging in and gave us the thumbs up. She does have a question here, so want to get right into it?
Well, I just want to acknowledge that Felicia did confirm it is Romper Room.
It is Romper Room.
Yeah. So, and a special hello to Dan, who's Rent Prep's very own moderator for the community, and Dan just messaged in saying thanks for doing this and thanks for everything that you do, Dan.
Yeah.
Do an amazing job with the community, and it is a thankless job for the most part. But man, you keep the streets clean and keep the community what it is, and we really appreciate really appreciate that. So
Absolutely.
big shout out for Dan here today.
Awesome. Cool. All right, so let's get into it. We're going to start out with Miss Felicia. So Miss Felicia says that she issued a 30-day termination of a lease on November 28th of this year.
Okay.
She received December's rents through the mail the next day, the 29th, which was yesterday.
Yeah.
The question is, does Miss Felicia have to reissue the notice, or can she just return the rent payment to the tenant? What would you say?
You don't have to reissue the notice because the notice has been delivered and given, and I think if you reissue the notice, it sort of defeats the purpose of the timeline of the notice to think that it can just be reissued.
And let me pause right there. I have
Yeah.
a quick question to add to that. When you do something like this, should you do it certified mail if you're going to use the mail so that you have a record so that they don't say, well, I never received anything? Is it good practice maybe to do something like that, to have a record of that?
It may not be a bad idea. It's not necessary. It's not like legally required.
Okay.
And it doesn't always necessarily have to be for this type of a notice. It doesn't have to be delivered by like post carrier or anything like that. You could You could put it on the door. You can hand it to them in person.
Okay.
If you're used to communicating with them through email, and that's the mode of communication that they're accustomed to,
Okay.
you can communicate through there. I would just get some sort of acknowledgement from them that they received it.
Okay.
So my thoughts on this. So basically, to reframe it, she gives the 30-day notice that the lease is going to terminate. The tenant pays the next month's rent.
Correct.
Assuming that I'm not going crazy and that rent wasn't supposed to be paid, because it kind of feels like that's the December's rent. And so if they have 30 days, so does that mean by January 1st they're going to be out? Well, Felicia's on here right now, so we should just ask Felicia.
Right.
So Felicia, are they supposed to be out today, being November 30th, or are they supposed to be out December 31st?
31st, yeah.
Because I think that makes a difference of whether or not you cash the check. And my thought is, if it's a cross in the mail type of a thing where maybe it was a payment that they weren't supposed to pay. If this was like a large property management company or some large apartment community, they would take that check, they'd cash it, and then they tell you, we'll get you a refund when we get around to it, basically.
Sure.
So I'm not saying to go that route, but I'm also saying you may not want to be super quick with giving that refund immediately. You got a little bit of leverage there in the fact that they paid some extra, they paid the rent.
31st. So you wanted them out the 31st of December?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, 'cause there's only 30 days in November.
True. Fact. Yeah.
I've been on this earth a very long time. I still don't know I only know a few days. Like February's got 28.
Oh my God. Don't you know the trick with your hands?
Yeah, but I don't know what day starts 30 and 31.
January's
So
30.
I'm always off.
January's 31.
Okay.
And then you got the two knuckles in the middle that are
Kind of like us.
the two knuckleheads in the middle. July and then August.
All right, perfect.
Okay, so I would say, Felicia, if you got a feeling that this is going to be an issue and they're not going to leave the property, then I'd be very hesitant to refund that or give that check back if they sent a check. I'm more on the side of she paid first and last month's rent at the beginning of the lease.
Okay.
All right. Well, then in that case, you probably do want to give that back. I'd still communicate and just make sure that it was just maybe a cross in the mail or an oversight, and there isn't the assumption that they're going to be there longer. So maybe the tenant forgot that they paid the first and last month's rent, and they were just sort of in auto mode and just kept paying it. So I think good communication is the key here. Reach out, say, hey, I got your check. As you know, the lease is going to be ending, so you didn't really need to send that. 31st is your last day. Everything good to go for that timeline, and just try to get a good feel of what that tenant's planning on doing. Mm-hmm. Make sure that check wasn't sent with the intention that, hey, I'm not leaving, and I'm just going to continue to pay you.
Sure.
Cool. So if that's the case, if the tenant says, hey, I'm not leaving, I'm just going to continue to pay you, you got a real decision to make at that point.
Because if you cash the checks, it's almost an agreement that you're letting them stay on a month-to-month.
Yeah, but I don't know, because she collected the first and last months. Oh, she told me to keep it, Felicia says. So, Felicia, do you think that she's intending on not vacating after the 31st? She's holding out. She's going to dig her heels in and stay. I would say if that's the case, then you're going to have an eviction on your hands shortly, I would imagine.
Right.
Again, I would think I'm more on the side of it's okay to refund versus you can't cash that check.
Right.
Even though she paid the last month's rent, I'm assuming that the first and last month's rent were in place of a security deposit as well. So keep that in mind, because usually, so Felicia confirmed that. So typically if you don't have a security deposit, you're usually not asking for first and last month's rent. So, again, it's not like you're going to have a bucket to draw from in the event that this tenant says, I'm not leaving. So, I would enforce the notice. I'd cash the check. I'd enforce the notice and tell her you'll be getting a refund when you leave.
Yeah.
So that's my advice for you there, Felicia. Keep good communication with that tenant. Obviously, I wouldn't let that go.
Yeah, keep us posted on that when we do this next month. Just out of curiosity, and I'm sure some of the viewers may want to, maybe see some of that. What actually happened with that? How did you handle that? It's just education for everybody in the group as well, and our knowledge too. So keep us posted on that. Hopefully, Steve helped you out with that a little bit here.
Right.
We're gonna move on. Miss April asks, what can a landlord do to improve the response rate when they're verifying applicant references with other landlords? So, what can you do to get these people to respond?
Yeah, it's tough. So we used to have a product that did this, and our screeners would make these phone calls.
Yeah.
And I remember at one point we were well over 50% contact rate, which was great. And then all of a sudden, everybody in the world started getting these ridiculous vehicle warranty phone calls.
Yeah.
Robo-dials is what they call them. Robo-dials killed that product for us because it dropped our completion rate to below 20%.
Yeah.
So a couple of tips that I can think of off the top of my head that work is, number one, let the applicant know that you're going to be doing this and it needs to be completed in order for it to be considered a complete application or a complete screening. The process needs to be completed. And a lot of times if the applicant reaches out to the landlord to give them a heads up, then that will help sort of grease the gears and get the landlord to respond. It also kind of goes a long way as sort of solidifying, verifying, proving that the applicant has a good relationship with the landlord.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like that's important. If you don't have a good relationship with the landlord and you're about to skip out on rent or you're about to get evicted, you're probably not going to tell the landlord, hey, this other landlord's calling to ask if I was a good tenant. Can you please respond back to them?
Right.
So I feel like...
what about text messaging?
Yeah, so I was just going to say, also...
Keep it brief, but let them know, hey, my name is April.
Yep.
I'm possibly going to be renting to a current tenant of yours, John Smith.
Yeah.
Can you give me a quick call back? I just wanted to ask you some questions on their renting habits.
Yep. Well, okay. So if you want to increase your chances of a response, I'll
give you $10.
No. Yeah, I'll give you $10.
You want to make $10?
No, I would say try to keep it as vague as possible, but make it sound like you're very regimented, very routine. So you don't want to say things like, I want to find out how good of a tenant they were, or I have questions for you, because some landlords don't like the idea that they're going to have to snitch on somebody.
Gotcha.
And so if you keep it really sort of
want to ask you some questions, verify that they're a tenant of yours, kind of like that.
Yeah, very Detective Friday, just the facts,
Right.
give just the facts. When, I just want to know when they moved in and moved out, and how long they were a tenant there. And of course, when you get them on the phone is when you kind of...
Yeah, you already got them.
Yeah, you feel them out. Hey, okay, they moved in here. How long were they a tenant? What were they paying in rent? And I would say, kind of off the question a little bit, but some good advice on making these calls. You want to ask loaded questions that you have the answers to in front of you.
Yeah.
But not allude that you have the answers necessarily.
Sure.
So you want to say, how much was the rent that they were paying? Obviously, you have that on the application. They put down what their monthly rent is.
Sure.
So if they put down that the monthly rent is $800 and now the person on the phone tells you $900,
yeah,
you got an issue. Another little trick to make sure you're talking to the right person, ask very simple questions like, what is the rental property address? And ask for the full thing, zip code and all.
Yeah.
Landlords know their property addresses.
Yep.
They know it well. Friends typically don't.
Right.
Do you know my address at my house?
I'm not going to say it, but yes, I do.
You know the number?
Yeah, I know the number.
What's the number?
47.
You're wrong. It's 7. See? Just made my point. He just made my point perfectly. Friends typically don't know. They know where they live, but they don't know the actual address.
Well, I've been sending your
Yeah.
birthday cards to 47.
Well, that makes sense why I'm not getting them. So, thanks.
Well, whoever's living there is keeping them. 'Cause give you $10 every year for your birthday.
Oh, another birthday card. Perfect. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So ask loaded questions, stuff that you know the answers to already, and
But to try to get the response rate, because it seems like that's really what she's asking is, how the heck do I get these? I think text message is like the new thing. It's not the new thing, but it's the new thing for like, cause nobody answers their phone is what I'm trying to say, because they think it's a robocall. I don't even answer the phone when my wife calls. I thought it was a robocall. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, text. However, they prefer to, and maybe ask the applicant too. How do you typically correspond with your landlord? Do you usually email? Do you usually text or call?
Yeah.
So, if they say I always text, then I would definitely try texting.
Sounds good. So yeah, there you go. Try texting or maybe even an email, like you said. Hey, I'm so and so. I'm just trying to just do a quick reference check because I may be renting to these people.
I see Darnell Jackson chatted in and says he doesn't know any of the zip codes. Darnell, the only reasonable explanation for that is you have so many properties, you don't know the zip codes. But if you have, I'm going to say 10 properties or less, come on, you've got to know the zip codes. You got to know. I feel like it's...
Darnell doesn't know.
All right, maybe if they're out of state as well.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Darnell, you're the outlier. I will tell you, most landlords, in my experience, know the zip codes.
Love it. You just got called out.
Yeah, I know. Thanks, Darnell.
All right. So, April, I hope we answered that question. If we didn't, please let us know. Just shoot a comment or get back in touch with us. We'll figure something out here for you. Let's kind of roll into that Facebook group. So, like I said, we've been seeing a lot of traffic on this Facebook group, which is a good thing. So I figure why not just kind of go into it and discuss a little bit more in detail and kind of see if we can shed a little bit more light on certain situations that are happening. So we have one, Christina. She
Is it Christina?
No. If this is a typo, Ashley, I swear to you, if you think this is funny and you're just doing this, we're going to talk on the phone after this one. No, Christina with an A.
Okay, all right.
Or Christiana?
We're going to go with Christiana.
Oh, Jesus. I'm sorry. They asked, do any of you charge a cleaning fee in addition to the security deposit?
I've seen it. You can do it if you put it in your lease up front.
Yeah.
If they know in the upfront lease, hey,
and you're a landlord. Let's just say you did this,
yeah.
On the up and up, just out of curiosity, like what would be a good amount of money that you would think that
a reasonable cleaning fee?
Yeah, a reasonable cleaning fee. There you go.
I would say a couple $100. I would think anything over 200 is probably getting into like excessive. But if you just explain it as, listen, there's going to be a cleaning fee. My concern with that is, put yourself in the psyche of a tenant for a second.
Oh, yeah. Hey, you got my cleaning fee. What are you talking about? You're not keeping my security deposit.
I'm paying a cleaning fee.
Right. Well, the cleaning fee.
Beer, pizza, face down.
Yeah.
I'm paying a cleaning fee. I'm going to get my money's worth out of it.
Right. Or they're going to be ticked off they didn't get the security deposit back because the cleaning deposit didn't cover the actual damages. So that may set you up.
Yeah,
may set you up for some issues.
Yeah. So as long as you put it, so to answer her question directly, you can charge it as long as it's in the lease. The concern is it may not be a great strategy.
Right.
You may want to just make clear instead that a cleaning fee will be taken from the security deposit if there is damage or wear and tear above normal
wear and tear.
Yeah. Keep it at that. That makes it nice and easy, and it doesn't incentivize people to want to get their money out of a cleaning fee.
Right.
So
okay. I got another short one here I want to answer from the Facebook group. Monique, Monique asks, one of my tenants is elderly and is asking us to install a handicap bar in the fiberglass shower tub combo. Are we as landlords responsible for having a bar installed for the tenant?
Yes. Yes.
That was fast.
Yeah.
It's not even, you didn't even think about that.
No, because that is reasonable accommodation.
Gotcha.
So, if she wanted a elevator because she's on the second floor,
Right.
then no.
It's not reasonable.
That's not reasonable accommodation.
Okay.
Installing simple handrails, real simple accessibility, maybe an extra railing on the staircase.
Sure.
Shower. I think the one that HUD uses as an example is a shower bar. So I think that's like literally the definition of a reasonable accommodation.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's on you, the landlord, to do that, to install it. You want to do it yourself. One of these days, we should have a picture contest in the Facebook community of tenants who think that they're good at home improvement or home decorating.
DIY tenants.
DIY tenants. Yeah, that's a good caption for it, because I'm picturing in my head. I remember a landlord once sent a picture to us. It was more of an issue of repairs that needed to be made to the shower, because there was about 9 handrails drilled into this shower that the tenant decided to do themselves. And some of them were positioned weird. Like, all I can imagine is they were like in the tub laying there and then thinking like, no, that's wrong. I need another one right here. And then like just kept on figuring it out as they went. And instead of
hit every angle.
Yeah. Or they had 9 and they were like, we could use all these.
Right.
We could find a way. So you don't want to leave it up to the tenant to do it themselves. And as the landlord, you have a responsibility to make the
reasonable accommodations.
Make reasonable accommodations. So yeah, that one's on you, Monique, for sure.
Cool. All right, so we're going to go back into general questions now. People that had typed them in.
Gen Pop.
Gen Pop.
Real quick, hello to Christy, our compliance officer,
yeah.
who is
awesome.
She's awesome, but I feel like she's spying on us, maybe
a little,
for compliance purposes. So.
Right. That's okay.
Yeah.
We'll stay compliant this time.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Deb. Deb always hits us up. So, Deb has asked, my tenants moved out on October 31st, Halloween, and the bedroom furniture is still here. In quotation, she put, last October month rent was not paid. The deposit is already used. How do I handle this? What can I do with the furniture?
Yeah.
You got fireplace? I'm just kidding.
Yeah, don't do that. So check with your state, local ordinances, but you're treating it as abandoned property. They left. They didn't pay that last month's rent. They left the furniture there. It's pretty safe to say that it's abandoned property.
Right.
Did
they leave the sheets and the blanket and the pillows?
Ew. Yeah. Was it stripped down or?
Yeah. If it was stripped down, then I would say, But
yeah.
Isn't there also like a rule somewhere that says like 30 days you have to house stuff for 30 days before you can discard it?
Yeah. So she's really technically already done that. The key is communicating. So she's got to make sure that she's communicating to them and giving them a final pickup date to say like,
and keep track of that, Deb.
Yeah.
Keep track of your of how you're communicating.
Yeah. Exactly.
Have all of that.
Yep. Yeah. You want verification and proof in the event that you end up throwing it out and then the tenant comes back and says, that was my great-great-grandfather's bed and it meant so much. And, whatever reason they give you, even though they should have probably picked it up and taken it with them if it was that important.
Yeah.
That's beside the point. But yeah, make sure that you're documenting your communication really well. Chances are in your state, it's a 30-day hold requirement for their property. Some states might require, if it's something of value and not considered to be junk, that you've got to do like an auction and sell it off. Check with your state, but I think that you're probably going to be good as of tomorrow. 30 days. Put it out to the street. As long as you've given that tenant notice saying, hey, garbage is, Monday or whenever it is, it's going out. If you want it, come get it. If not, it's going out.
Someone's going to take it.
Maybe it's a gross bed and that's why they left it.
If it's a frame, the frame's nice. You don't have to keep the bed.
Yeah.
All right. Paula. Paula asks, okay, so she has a situation here. If I won an eviction, but didn't get the amount of money awarded, what is my next step without an attorney?
Won an eviction, didn't get the amount awarded. So I'm assuming she means she filed an eviction,
She got the judgment.
got the judgment. There was a monetary amount attached to the judgment.
Yep.
The people they're gone now. They're no longer there. The eviction was executed.
He actually won the eviction.
Yep. And now they have money owed on that judgment.
Okay. That's how I'm taking it.
Yeah. Okay. So, who is this? Paula?
Paula.
I'm going to give you the ugly truth, Paula. Not going to sugarcoat it. The chances of you collecting on that are slim. So, don't wait up for it. But not to say that you shouldn't try to collect on it. I'm just saying that statistically speaking, your chances of that actually getting paid are very small.
At least in the near future.
Yeah. Judgments are really tough nowadays, especially since 2018. Mm-hmm. They've been pulled off of credit reports.
Yep.
That was at least good incentive for people to try to avoid judgments because they didn't want it to show up on their credit report at least. Now that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Wage garnishment are super difficult to execute on.
Well, then people are probably wondering, well, what's the point of even getting the judgment? And if you wouldn't mind, I'd like to step on this as a collector.
Yeah.
You guys, for all of you that don't know, I do have a collection background. I did it for many, many years and kind of understood this whole process. And that was one of the biggest questions that I used to actually get from clients was, if you're having such a tough time recovering this money, what's the point of even doing it? Why shouldn't I just cut my losses?
It's a valid question.
And it's a waiting game when it comes to judgments, because once you get that judgment's gonna it may not show up on the credit report.
Mm-hmm.
One way or another, it's going to affect them, and it may not affect them in the near future. And when I say near future, 6 months, 8 months, maybe even a year,
maybe 7 years,
But eventually they're gonna make some type of financial or want to make some type of financial move where somebody's gonna take a look at that information and say, "Whoa, you have to clear this stuff up," and at that point, you may get a 4 or 5 year Christmas bonus, if you will. But that's kind of like how we handled it. It was kind of a waiting game. When it came to collections, we would actually do the judgment and explain to the client, listen, this isn't going to fix everything here. So
yeah,
it's a process.
It's a long term.
It is.
And so Paula or Felicia just chatted in and asked, does Paula have a way to garnish wages? So
again, there's so many laws with that stuff, especially with, and I hate using this all the time, the pandemic and this and that just made things a lot worse. Yeah. There's minimums, things like that. I know in some states that you have to have $2,500 minimum in the checking account, let alone having the checking account information. Yes, you probably cash their checks. Hopefully they're sending you checks and you have that information, but 9 times out of 10, that account's going to be closed. Yeah.
Garnishing wages is tough if they job hop.
Yep.
If they're a federal employee, you can't garnish their wages. So if they're a mail,
it's tough.
Yeah, if they're a mailman or working for the federal government, you can't garnish their wages there.
Yep. We got to find out where they work.
You got to find out where they work.
So there's a lot of investigation work. These are definitely things that can be done. But then you got to value your time. Is it really worth your time? And then you got to say to yourself, okay, well, if I don't want to constantly go into something like this, how do I avoid this for the future? And that's where the screening process comes into play. And
I got a question. Do you think it's worth it for Paula to use a third-party collection agency to try to collect on?
I do. And the reason, but again, you got to be very selective. So, try to find if you're ever going to search around, try to find an agency that's reputable. And what do I mean by that? If you think you found somebody that looks good, go on the Better Business Bureau, kind of see if they've had any complaints. Type in, XYZ collection agency lawsuits, kind of see where they're at with that. But then, after you've decided and say, okay, this is the agency for me, when you talk to them, you want somebody that's going to work on contingency base.
That's the key, contingency.
They're not gonna charge you anything up front. a
Yeah.
handling fee, a maintenance fee. Listen, we'll take the account, we'll hold on to it, we'll make our attempts. They have all their tricks of the trade. They stay within compliance. And then
You don't want
if
to.
they collect on it, they'll take a cut. If they can't collect on it, I mean, they're going to be straight up with you. And they're
Yeah, they've got some skin in the game.
Right.
Reason to want to collect on it because
Yep.
they get a piece. You got to share some of it, which it may not have gotten collected otherwise.
exactly.
So 50% of something is better than 100% of nothing.
Sure.
And I would say also be smart about who you're giving it to, like you said.
Yeah.
Reputable. Maybe ask your attorney. A lot of attorneys do this type of stuff too. They'll
Sure.
execute on judgments. So yeah. Solid advice.
And again, things happen. You may have done everything right. You probably did, Paul. You probably did do everything right. You got all the information. People go through issues sometimes. It's just how it is, and they could be great in that they hit that 8-month mark. Somebody lost a job. Could have been a death in the family, a split up in the house, whatever the case may be. That just kind of sends everything into turmoil. And unfortunately, in the end, you're the one that's going to have to deal with that. But as long as you're doing your pre-screen the right way. Continue doing it that way if you are doing it. If you think you could do something different or you're not sure, reach out to us. We'll do our best to try to guide you, or maybe say, okay, well, what's your current process? What are you doing now? Maybe you can start doing this, and this may help you out in the future. So, but yeah, I mean, I think look for an agency that's on contingency base.
Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it, because they're gonna, like you said, have skin in the game with that.
Yeah, and you don't want to spend good money to go after bad.
Right.
So don't put another penny into it. Only give it up if they're willing to take it on contingency and not charge you anything up front.
Yep.
There's plenty that will take it on contingency.
Right. Okay. So let's see what we got here. I got another. This is from Anonymous. So it says here, what is the best workaround for people who work for themselves, but only 2 years, and they have good credit, but they also have no landlord for a referral because they own their own home but getting a divorce. So this sounds like somebody who's an entrepreneur. They could be Grubhub,
I don't think they're a Grubhub entrepreneur. Maybe.
I'm just saying they're
Yeah.
they're self-employed. Why you got you're a Grubhub.
I'm the CEO of my own Grubhub business.
There you go.
Yeah. What does that mean? I drive for Grubhub.
Publicly traded.
Yeah.
I'm just saying though.
I drive public.
I drive public.
Yeah.
They're an entrepreneur. They're getting a divorce. They own their own home, but now they got to get out. They got the boot.
Yeah. I got this.
Yeah, take it. I have an idea in my head.
So first thing I'm looking for is
Income verification.
income verification.
How?
You don't want to look at taxes for a business owner.
No.
They're not real clear. I would say the income verification product that we carry is the perfect product because it's going to show you a year's worth of deposits.
Okay.
And it's going to give you a breakdown of what their 30 days look like, their 6 months or 90 days, 1 year. You're going to be able to see the actual money coming in, which is the important part here. It doesn't, your business could make $100 million.
Right.
But if you don't have a very big profit margin and your expenses are $100 million,
Sure.
you are, big goose egg zero. So
Sure.
really the only thing that matters is what kind of income are they actually bringing in? The income verification product does that.
How does that work?
They place your order through RentPrep.
Okay.
Applicant gets an email that explains to them, hey, you're doing an income verification. And once they agree to it and respond to the email, then it basically takes the information directly from their bank account. Minimally invasive.
But it is you got to get applicant.
You got to get their approval. You got to get their.
So there's involvement.
They've got to participate.
So you're saying that if I'm the applicant and I get an email, I'm going to put in my bank information for them to log in, so to scrape the deposits, and then you would get the report, not a detailed report, just the report of the deposits, the dollar amounts.
Yeah, just the income.
What's the rate for completion on something like that? Like how many? I don't know. This feels kind of weird that I wouldn't.
70%. 70%.
70% of people actually
70
complete the.
We track that weekly. It's shocking. I see that Joe Capella just joined the chat here.
He's a stud.
Joe is our product manager here at RentPrep. Joe can confirm 70% is pretty consistent in terms of the completion rate. So 7 out of 10 people that you send this to. And I think it definitely helps if you're the landlord to explain what it is.
Sure.
Don't just throw this at them and expect that they're going to do it.
Right.
Explain, listen, I'm going to verify, your income. This is a much less invasive way than me taking your bank statements, which is not very secure. Or, looking at your taxes. Mm-hmm. So income verification, number one. I'd say number two, take a look at the credit report. You should see the mortgage on there. You mentioned they were a homeowner. You should see the mortgage on the trade lines.
Yeah.
Just make sure that the mortgage has been paid on time. If the house is in foreclosure, if that's part of the divorce story, then get some reasonable explanation around that.
Sure.
It's worth asking at what stage the divorce is in. I mean, is it ready to be finalized? Is this just the beginning?
Right.
How long you have to hold on here.
Sure.
Yeah, so I would say don't be spooked necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you shouldn't rent to this person. But they're not going to be a traditional screening like the way that you would do with somebody that's got a rental history. So you just got to kind of keep that in mind.
Right.
But yeah, I would say, previous homeowners tend to make good tenants a lot of times if they've taken care of their home well. They're a homeowner. They know how to take care of a home.
Sure.
There's something inside of them that feels gross when something isn't being done, right.
Yeah.
So, if they break something in the apartment, they're far more likely to tell you or at least attempt to fix it or whatever versus just like, that's just how we live. We're good.
Sure.
So not to generalize renters and homeowners, but if you're a homeowner, you're a little bit more accustomed to how to manage the maintenance of that home too, and you care a little bit about that.
Yeah. Go on Google Maps. Google the house that the guy lives in. You can see if the house is manicured nice or drive by.
That's a great idea too. Yeah, check out
if they're local.
Yeah.
Just do a drive by.
Yeah.
If it looks like they're having a garage sale and they're really not.
Yeah.
Isn't that one of those? What was that Jeff Foxworthy? You're a redneck if people start stopping at your house
thinking that you have a garage sale.
Yeah. So maybe stop by. You can kind of just do a slow,
Yep.
kind of see what's going on with that. So
yeah.
Mary Welton, she's on live with us. She has a question. What's up, Mary? How you doing? We're gonna get right to you.
Okay.
If somebody gave me a 2-week notice and they're moving out tomorrow, December 1st. No, you're going the wrong way.
Yeah. Okay, there you go.
They would not let me show it while they were there. Somehow I feel like I should give them their deposit back if the house is in good condition. But legally, I know that I don't have to. How do you deal with a moral issue versus what can be done as far as keeping the deposit? I feel torn in a small way. I get it. Are you, again, it's a business. You have to make a business decision.
Yeah.
And there are going to be some morals and ethics involved to a certain extent, but when it comes to...
Yeah, and I don't know where the moral issue is here. So hang on, let me just make sure I'm understanding this correctly. Somebody gave me a 2-week notice. I'm assuming they're breaking the lease.
Yeah.
Can you confirm that, Mary, if by you saying they're giving a 2-week notice that they're breaking the lease early? Mm-hmm. They're moving out tomorrow, December 1st.
Yep.
They would not let me show it while they were there. Mm-hmm. So...
I wouldn't give that deposit back until you got into that house also.
Yeah, well...
And, obviously take a look, see what's going on there.
100%.
They wouldn't let you in the house to show it.
Yeah. Yeah,
I don't know.
You don't know what you're potentially walking into for sure.
Right.
You never want to give a security deposit back without knowing and having gone through and you've got a full 30 days.
Sure.
I'm not saying take the full 30 days, but for sure don't be worried about taking the full 30 days and don't be worried about trying to get it in any faster, or refunding any faster. Mm-hmm. yeah, I would say, you know, if you're going to keep the deposit, Mary, she's seen the house a month ago.
Okay.
I'd still wouldn't give.
Yeah, stand by with that.
Yeah, I wouldn't give the deposit until you've done the walkthrough and
Yeah.
you know 100%, and you know, 45 days in West Virginia. So that's the
Minimum amount of time you can hold, or the maximum amount of time you can hold on to a deposit.
the security deposit. Yeah. Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, again, there's no reason to.
You don't have to rush it.
Yeah, and you don't have to be a jerk and hold it for 45 days if you don't need to.
Right.
But
That's the moral part, if you ask me.
yeah, if you want to.
Holding on to that for 45
Yeah.
when you know it's okay.
Yeah.
But
Document everything. If there's a legitimate reason to keep part or whole the whole deposit, you know, make sure you're documenting and make sure you can draw a direct line between. So
she's asking it, would you give it back? Because legally she can keep it.
was it an inconvenience, Mary, for you because they didn't give 30 days notice? So was it an inconvenience for you to not be able to show the property, which then limits your ability to turn the property over, which then means you're probably going to have a month of vacancy, I would guess.
Yep.
Would that be correct?
I would think so.
So if you think about the whole reason why you have that, Mary, that protection in your lease agreement, chances are, is to protect you from this exact situation.
Right.
To protect you from not having enough time
To fill the vacancy.
and turn the property over.
Yep.
And
The laws are in place for both the tenant and the landlord. I tell you right now, if it was the other way around, you'd be held to the fire.
yeah.
So you kind of got to look at it like that.
Okay.
If you're having a moral issue, let's
Yeah.
just say you got somebody moving in on December 15th.
Yes.
You want to prorate it, then prorate it.
I was just going to say.
That's what I would do.
Yeah. If it comes down to a moral issue, and God bless you, Mary, for having morals, and I respect that. I'm not going to try to talk you out of it because.
I will. No, I'm just kidding.
Listen, business is business.
Right, that's what I'm trying to say.
And I
and laws are in place to protect both parties.
I get that, but Mary's got to sleep at night too.
Sure.
So
NyQuil.
Mary, if you turn this property over, in 15 days and you get somebody else in there and you technically don't need that full month's worth of rent,
Prorate.
then do the right thing and give part of it back that you prorate it like Carlos is saying.
Yeah.
You'll sleep at night. Everybody's happy. You're good. But if this situation puts you at a real disadvantage because now you can't fill that vacancy,
Sure.
I mean,
You still got to pay the mortgage.
yeah, it's
That's there to protect
it's
you.
there to protect you.
So if you, I guess if you don't have to take advantage of it, don't.
Yeah, I agree.
But if you have to, it's put in place there for a reason. So my take, prorate.
yeah,
I'm a fan of prorate.
prorate because I think
Oh
that's
man, that would be a great slogan for the coffee cup thing that we did. The coffee cup slogan challenge.
what's
Prorate. Prorate it.
just prorate.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean anything though.
It means a lot.
Yeah, but there's no context. They don't know what they're prorating.
Let the imagination just run wild with it. Prorate. Prorate what?
I want to get you a coffee mug that just says prorate.
You got it. I know. You got it, Mary. Not a problem at all. If anything else pops up, please feel free to reach out. Hopefully you don't log off.
Yeah,
We got a little bit left here. So
prorate TM. That's Carlos's slogan now.
what does TM mean?
Trademark, like you own that.
Oh,
So that's yours.
I like it.
Yeah.
Okay. Here we go. Paula again. Actually, you know what? Hold on, Paula. If it's the same Paula, or if it's not, I apologize. We'll get to you afterwards. Cool. Thanks, Mary. Thanks for sticking around. I got one here. A question from Maxine, and this was again on that Facebook group. So again, a lot of traffic on this Facebook group. So,
Okay.
According to Steve, I didn't realize this. Everybody's already on it. It's probably here right now.
That's true.
My bad.
And we always get a lot. I mean, not to say that maybe this time we didn't or whatever, but
Right.
like every month, I don't know if anybody knows this, but we get like between 80 and 100,000 engagements on the Facebook
Oh, it's
community.
nuts. It's absolutely nuts.
It's a lot.
I
Yeah.
hang out there more than I hang out on my own page.
Okay.
I love it.
You have your own private community?
Yeah.
What do you do in it?
Just kind of talking stuff.
How many people you have on
It's
it?
just me right now. But we're working on that. I got to get Ashley involved on this one. Help me out with this. I got to build my community.
Yeah, you do.
There it is.
All
So
right.
I hang out in your community.
Prorate it.
Yeah, prorate it.
All right, go ahead.
Question from Maxine. So she had a question. Is there any reason not to accept 6 months rent in advance from a qualified tenant who travels a lot?
Travels a lot or deals drugs?
What?
Yeah. Listen,
What do you mean?
the horror stories that I've heard from people who want to prepay rent are usually drug related.
I would take it. Hey, listen, if you want to give me 6 months rent, I'll take it. But if you got to get kicked out,
all right,
then where does that leave you?
all right, I'm the tenant.
Okay.
Okay, I come to you. I'm kind of a shady guy, right? Like,
I'm already renting to you, though?
you want to rent to me.
Okay.
Or you're considering it. And I come to you and I say, listen,
You qualify, though.
I do a bunch of
You're a qualified tenant.
qualified tenant.
You qualify, so you're a drug dealer that's got great credit.
That's
And good landlord references.
That's
the
possible.
Guy was great.
Okay.
Very
so,
social.
Qualified tenant is the key piece there. I didn't grab that. So okay. If it's a good qualified tenant that travels, that is a legitimate reason, I don't see any issues with taking 6 months rent advanced. I probably wouldn't do more than that.
Okay.
6 months is good. I don't see a whole lot of issue with that. Darnell says he's got mad stacks of cash.
I love it.
Well, you know what it reminds me of? Back in the day when we first started screening, believe it or not, we used to use MySpace as a screening tool. And I'll never forget, we had a guy who, on his rental application, he listed that he was unemployed and his source of income was his mom.
Oh,
And then on his MySpace page, there was a picture of him lifting the mattress, and there was stacks of cash under the mattress. I'm pretty sure there was a gun on there too, or something. Okay, so that guy wanted to prepay 6 months worth of rent. That's a pretty common thing for if you're
in 5s and 10s.
yeah. If you've got a meth lab in the Midwest, this is a really big deal. This is really an unspoken epidemic that's happening. It has been happening for a number of years. Is the meth epidemic in the middle of the country that's going on. And, if you're getting paid that much rent up front, there's a very good chance that there's going to be a meth lab.
They don't want you coming into the place.
Yeah.
I'm already paid. What do you need to be here for?
Yeah.
So maybe put something, that's fine, but I'm going to come check out on the property every 60 days.
So I guess my advice is be vigilant.
Yeah.
Make sure there's a good reason. Okay, if they're a qualified tenant and their reason is because they're traveling and they may not even be in the country to be able to pay the rent, cool, I get it.
Yeah.
If their reason is...
Isn't there Venmo now, though? There's so many ways to pay. I think this guy's a drug dealer.
Maybe not. I mean,
come on. I'm not in town because I can't pay the rent. I'm not in country.
I just don't want to think about it. I don't know.
I can pay somebody right now in Italy. Venmo.
I don't know.
Do you remember your MySpace?
You're not technically supposed to be paying rent on Venmo.
Oh.
That's kind of a big deal right now. PayPal and Venmo.
So, there you go. We just brought up a whole nother topic.
Yeah.
So, all you Venmo and PayPal.
That's going to be something that you see in 2022 is regulations around that.
Great segue into this next question, though.
So take it. So the answer to that question is take it if you feel comfortable with it, and it's legitimate, and everything else checks off, and it feels right in your gut. Then do it. Perfect tenant screening is 2 parts data, 1 part gut feeling. Don't discount that gut feeling. If you just got a funny feeling like something's not right, don't do it. Don't get blinded by the money and think, oh, it's 6 months in advance. I'm going to take that. But yeah, go with your gut on that one.
Did you have a MySpace?
I did not have a MySpace.
You liar! Yes, you did.
I did not. I barely have a Facebook. But yeah, that's I'm going to bring that up when people get mad at me and say like, oh, how come you don't have a Facebook or any kind of social media? I didn't even have a MySpace. I really didn't.
I remember you being on MySpace.
I didn't say I wasn't on it. I'm saying I didn't have a MySpace.
You can't be on unless you had one.
Well, I probably had a company MySpace account.
No, you didn't.
I'm pretty sure I didn't.
You're so full of it.
I'm pretty sure I did not have.
What was your MySpace profile song?
I have.
If you guys have a MySpace if you had a MySpace, anybody who's in here right now, and you remember your MySpace profile song, put in the comments. I'm dying to know what it is. I used to have one. It was great.
What was it?
What, the MySpace?
Your MySpace profile song.
Oh, the song? It was by Sneaker Pimps.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Sneaker Pimps?
Yeah.
What was the name of the song?
I remember how it goes.
Oh boy.
I'll think about it. I'll get back to you. I'll have it before.
Okay.
It wasn't Spin Spin Sugar. That was my club song, though.
That's the one I thought you were going to say.
No, I was back in the club.
Oh, okay.
But again, getting into this whole renting with Venmo and PayPal, this is a great segue into Paula's question, which worked out perfect. And then there was another question in there, I think.
Got two. So Felicia, Mary,
there was one right before that too. Drywall did a poor job, personally. That's all I can see.
Okay, so
But
we'll
real quick.
all right. Well, we'll get to these questions here. So I think it's Karen.
We'll get to Karen, Chrissy, and Felicia next.
And Mary.
Mary.
Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. So the segue for the payment collection was from Paula. Is it better to have something to collect your rent, i.e., rent collection software or property manager in charge? Oh, it's preference. How many properties you got?
Those are two very different things, though. Like
Right.
getting rent collection software versus getting a property manager.
Mm-hmm.
They're two they're a world apart from each other.
Yeah, one's just a specific product, and the other one's kind of handling the whole thing,
Yeah,
start
yeah.
to finish.
Yeah. So I say this a lot of times. Not everybody's cut out to be a landlord. They're just not. And
There's nothing wrong with that.
no, there's not. It's some self-awareness, and I think the good landlords, good meaning they've got self-awareness and they know, like, this isn't my thing. Maybe I don't communicate well. Maybe I can't handle the stress. Maybe I get too emotional and can't separate business and personal side of things or whatever.
Yeah, it's an investment.
Yeah.
It's the same reason why people have financial advisors. Same concept.
Yeah.
You're investing your money.
Yeah. So if the question is, should I have a property manager?
Is it better to have something to collect your rent?
Yeah. So
like, should I be, instead of taking the checks in the mail, should I be using like a rent collection software or?
So I would say the decision to hire a property manager should be more than just collecting rent.
Right.
It should be the whole thing, like
renting, background checks,
maintenance,
yeah. Inspections,
yeah,
everything.
Tenant placement.
They're gonna want some money.
They're gonna want 10% typically of the rent per month.
I've seen some like they want the first month's rent too,
and the first month's rent,
and the first, so 10% so first month's rent first, and then 10% beyond that.
Correct, but it's hands free. Toilet overflows in the middle of the night, you ain't getting the call.
Yeah,
for some people that's great.
Yeah, I guess if you got if you're like who's the guy with Mad Stacks?
Darnell.
Maybe Darnell's got 9 properties. Maybe he may consider, a property manager. He's got them all. He can't even remember the zip codes.
Yeah. So then the other question on or the related to is should they use a software?
Just makes it easier to collect the rent, I guess. It doesn't give the excuse of checks in the mail,
right?
Which is another slogan.
True. I would say also you got to make sure that your tenant is okay with it. In a lot of states, you cannot force them down one payment path if there's any additional charges to it as well.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
So you can't tell them, listen, you have to pay me through Zelle, and the transaction fee
$3.
$3 is on you. You have to pay that, and
Gotcha.
you have no other options.
That's the cost of doing business. You got to pay it.
Well, or you got to give them options.
Or checks in the mail.
Checks in the mail or whatever. It's a real personal preference of whether or not you want to use a rent collection software or any other platforms that are out there. Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, any of those things. Just know those peer-to-peer platforms like Venmo and Cash App and those type of things.
Yeah.
Specifically, I've been hearing a lot of buzz in the industry around collecting rent payments. Those tools are not typically made to collect rent payments, and people will avoid the fee by saying that they're sending to friends.
Oh.
And so it's free.
Right.
And it causes issues.
Yeah.
So and of course people aren't collecting their due tax on it and fees and things like that. So that's who's going to want the money eventually is the government. So all that to say, don't be shocked if you start to see some of these platforms no longer accepting or allowing you to collect rent payments.
Okay.
And they're going to start using algorithms to spot large, consistent payments coming through.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Darnell just mentioned he's heard of some people requiring a tenant to make the electronic payment a few days before the end of the month, so the landlord gets into their account by the 1st. Since the online tools take 2 to 5 days, this seems wrong to me. It is wrong if your lease agreement says that the amount is due on the 1st. They have to do their part on the 1st, and it depends also when the amount is taken out of their account. So if you're forcing them to do it a few days ahead of time, and the amount is taken out on the 28th, even though it reaches the landlord on the 1st, you're going against the agreement as the
extracting
landlord.
money prior to the agreement that's in writing.
You're making them pay early.
Some people get paid on the 1st, and
Yeah.
they didn't have the money. Some stuff like that. So there's some more issues.
Yeah, I would say if you're using these tools, they show you that the person has completed the transaction. I've never really understood why landlords get so antsy about the 2 to 5 day hold. If you can see that they've made the payment,
Right.
just chill out and wait. Like, it's coming. You know that it's coming.
Another slogan.
Chill out and wait. Yeah, that's a
Love
great
it.
slogan.
I like that one.
Yeah. Or how about chill out? We blend the two. Chill out, prorate.
Chill out and prorate.
Yeah, that's right.
That'll work. Go up in the comments real quick.
All right.
So
Darnell, I agree with you. I don't like that
Careful,
either. It's asking for trouble if you're asking them to do anything above and beyond what they've agreed to in the lease agreement. It's no good. All right. So Karen says the drywall contractor repaired a bathroom ceiling 18 months ago. Okay. I had the roof replaced at the same time. My insurance covered the drywall portion, about $800. The roofer subbed the drywall. Mold is coming through. They will not redo their work at no charge. They're suggesting that it's because the tenants didn't use the exhaust fan. I don't buy it. I think the drywall was a poor job. I posted this on RentPrep an hour ago with pictures. Please help. Listen, these types of things, especially battles with contractors, I hate to say this, but the way to get this resolved a lot of times is go to their social media.
Put them on blast.
Be a pain in terms of like, hey, this isn't right. Try doing the whole
reviews. Be honest with it, though. I mean, but again, it's like
and try. And I'm not saying you didn't already try to do your best in communicating with them, but maybe just let them know, like, hey, listen, I'm a landlord. I could see a need in the future for using your service. I know a lot of landlords.
Yeah.
I'm in a private community of landlords.
Yeah, that's definitely a negotiation right there. I think that comes down to how you're going to talk to that contractor, and you're absolutely right. So listen, I'm a landlord. I own multiple. You can tell them that I own multiple properties. I want to use you guys exclusively.
Yeah.
I belong to the association in the area. I would love to give you guys a great recommendation at our next meeting that we have coming up. Listen, you can't do it for free. I understand. What can you do it for?
Yeah.
Do you understand my situation? I'm in a bad situation. And then even go one step further and say, this is what I'm going to do to remedy this issue moving forward. Maybe you get an electrician coming in that can hardwire the switch so that when the lights go on, the fan goes on automatically, and then that way you don't have any. Well, they didn't turn the fan on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, again, it comes down to negotiation with that. It's how you kind of talk. And then if they tell you to go pack sand, then you put them on blast.
Yeah. And if it's worth it, maybe get a general contractor out there to give an expert opinion on, is this really a tenant issue? Is this poor work, craftsmanship that was done for the original job?
Yeah.
Have a general contractor come out there,
You may have another general contractor come out and be like, I could fix this for this amount. And then you say to him, well, listen, I own multiple property. Go through the whole spiel with this guy. And then this guy might say, you know what? I feel your pain. Yeah, I'll take care of you. Recommend me on whatever social medias or whatever you deal with,
social medias.
Social medias.
Man, you're the oldest 40-year-old I've ever met.
I'm not 40.
Okay, Christy.
32.
Christy Fellers mentioned something here in the chats that I thought was important to mention. I didn't think of it when we were talking about prepaying rent. She said she rents to a lot of medical students, and they pay about 6 months at a time when their student loan comes in. That's a great point.
That's awesome, actually.
Yeah, students, also like traveling nurses, corporate housing, temporary housing.
Yeah.
Super common for prepaid rents in those situations. So probably not drug dealers there,
Right.
but maybe if they're students, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
There were a couple questions right below Karen's. Everybody got little nuts on the comments. I love it. A little bit more, right there.
So
Cash App and Zelle. Okay.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
Gotcha.
Yep. Okay. Oh, Karen just mentioned she's got a 12-year warranty with the roofer. I would for sure have somebody come back and take a look at that, and you know, a professional opinion on what's wrong and who's at fault. And I think Dan gave some really good advice here. So, he said my issue would be with the roofer, not the drywaller.
Yeah.
You know. So yeah, I would say, yeah, I wouldn't just let that go at this point. If you got a warranty on the roof.
Well, yeah, because the roofer is using this guy as a sub. He may say, "Dude, I am not using you anymore if you don't repair your work." A lot of times, these smaller guys, they get subbed out by these big contractors. You actually might have a little bit more play if you go right to the roofers and say, "Hey, I know you guys use these guys as subcontractors. This is what's happening. He gave me the BS excuse of they didn't turn the fan on. Come on, and you know, can you guys help me out here?" That contractor might go back to Joe Drywall and say, "Yo, what are you doing? You better fix this work or you're not going to get any more subcontracts from us anymore. And you know what type of volume we push. We can't have that type of heat."
Yeah, that's right.
I'm being for real. All right.
Can't have that kind of heat. Debbie Lee just posted a question I thought was good.
Okay.
So Debbie asks, is the eviction record visible nationwide or just within the state? Will RentPrep tenant screening be able to view all eviction records within the entire U.S.? So the eviction product that we have on RentPrep is a nationwide. It's a nationwide eviction search. So it will search every court that is pushing their information into the nationwide database. So, not to say that every court is going to do it.
Right.
They have the court systems in the U.S. is like the Wild West. They have no responsibility to do things the way that another court does. They do what they want, and which is why we see all kinds of weird nuances, not only sometimes state by state, but sometimes county by county that are next to each other. They might have different dispositions. They might have a completely different court or a district that it's in where one type of case might be handled, like an eviction. So in Erie County, we've got landlord tenant court.
Okay.
In Niagara County, which is neighboring, I'm pretty sure they just have, a district court, no landlord tenant court where an eviction is going to be handled. So it depends on the courts and how well they play nice, to answer your question. The nationwide evictions are civil records. So you really want to do a civil record search, which is what we're doing at RentPrep. We're not trusting just the nationwide database only.
Right.
That might miss some things in there as well.
Sure.
So we had a question in the Facebook community.
Yeah.
That I think their question was about a record that didn't appear.
Yes.
And if I'm remembering correct, was it a situation where it was a really old record?
No, it was a situation where you're talking about where it didn't show up on the Nation, I think it was. But it started getting nuts, and it just started trickling. So it started to get to that point with, because maybe it was over 7 years, and the one person did say it was over actually 7 years.
Yeah.
but they still received the information somehow.
So you got to be careful. You don't want to. So here's my best advice. So Darnell just asked, are you only able to show evictions from the past 7 years? The answer is yes.
Yes.
And in some areas, it's even less.
Less.
Portland, Oregon, it's 5 years.
Yep.
California is making a push to go for like 2 years. It's crazy.
So what if somebody makes a decision that's like, say, 8 or 9 years old, but they're like, man, you guys didn't catch it, but a good thing I did my homework. I found it's 8 years old. They got evicted. They're not getting the apartment. What happens then?
We live in a society that believes in second chances. We believe in the concept that you are innocent until proven guilty.
Right.
The Fair Credit Reporting Act is written in a way that protects consumers against this very thing.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at the Fair Credit Reporting Act, 7 years, if you do a control search find for the word 7 or number 7, it's going to be littered throughout the whole thing because that seems to be like the magic number for any adverse action on a credit report. So if you make a late payment, 7 years. Judgments being filed, 7 years.
Yeah.
Evictions, 7 years.
Yeah.
Criminal records that are not felonies, so misdemeanor convictions, 7 years. It's not a coincidence. That seems to be the magic number.
Right.
Bankruptcies, 7 years until you can get credit again.
Right.
Although bankruptcies are reportable for 10 years, so you can measure if they filed twice in that period of, having 7 years to file again.
Right.
Okay, so to answer to make my point, there is no perfect solution. There is no single source out there that's going to give you 100% perfect accuracy. It's just there's too many variables with the courts and what the courts are doing, especially now that some courts are not specifically sharing stuff because of COVID. So if it was protected under the moratorium, then that's going to be sealed or truncated, or you're not going to be able to view it either. So you got to be careful what you're doing your own homework and researching your own stuff. Not to say you shouldn't do it necessarily, because it could be really useful, and maybe you're finding something that we didn't originally find. So I would say, instead of trying to play this gotcha game of like, well, why didn't you guys find it? If you find something, let us know. Mm-hmm. Any screener here will happily go over that record with you and tell you that's reportable or it's not.
So is that what really, stands RentPrep apart from the industry, is how we actually try to ensure that accuracy?
Yeah.
So we're not just pulling data.
We're not just pulling data. We have a screener that's actually looking at that data.
We got people,
Right.
live people sitting in their desks, hand compiling these reports.
Yes.
So you don't just have some data company spitting out information to you. We have somebody going through it.
Yeah.
And the other big thing is aside from accuracy, then compliance.
The compliance
Because
piece.
if you get information that you shouldn't be using.
Yeah. Perfect example. Darnell just chimed in and said, what if I ask if they've ever been evicted? They say no, and I find a 9-year-old eviction. Can I not accept them for lying? No.
Shouldn't you? That information can't be used whatsoever.
And
lying or not.
And they have the right to
They have the right to say no.
No, because
it's outside of the statute of limitations.
Because they know that's not a reportable eviction. So
Right.
So no, I've not been evicted.
Right.
Make your own judgment call, Darnell, in terms of what else they might be lying about. But for that in particular, people want to
move on.
People want to move on. If they were evicted 9 years ago, they have not been evicted again.
Right.
They might remember the eviction, but I promise you, they want to identify as a new person.
Right.
That didn't, I don't need to acknowledge
7 years is a long time too, if you really think about it. I remember my first apartment I had a crazy, you know who that is, a roommate.
Mm-hmm. It wasn't me.
It wasn't Steve, but it was somebody that Steve knows. Anyways,
I spent a lot of time there, though.
You did spend a lot of time.
I probably should have been paying rent.
You should have been paying rent.
Mm-hmm.
But what happened was, we were young, 21 years old. Got evicted for craziness with my roommate and the guy that lived below us. I got a phone call at work. You need to come to the apartment. There's been issues.
Mm-hmm.
We get the notice to get out. 21.
Mm-hmm.
7 years later, I'm 28 years old.
Married.
Married, out of the military, did my service, got a great job, that shouldn't be held against me
Right.
for those types of reasons. So
Yeah. You're a different person.
I'm a different person. 9 years later now,
Yeah.
you know, if you ask me at that 28, you ever been, or 29 then at that point, ever been evicted? And I'll say, yeah, I'm going to say no.
Yeah.
I'm absolutely going to say no.
Yeah.
Because it's not within the limits.
Yeah.
But if it was in the 7 years, I'd be like, but this is the situation.
Same thing with crimes. You
Yeah.
know, if you're somebody who 10 years ago, I don't know, got caught shoplifting at 18 years old, and now you're 28, you're a professional, you learned your lesson. I promise you're not walking around saying, yeah, I was a shoplifter, convicted, this misdemeanor.
Convicted.
Yeah.
Almost got the chair.
Yeah. Fought the appeals for a while, got out of it. No, but
Feels good to be out.
yeah, I would say it's not crazy to think that they're not going to own up to that.
Yeah.
But no, you got to be very careful, Darnell, that you're not holding that against them.
Right.
Because that once it ages out, it didn't exist. It's gone.
Yeah, it doesn't.
It's just like on your credit report.
Yeah.
A past due payment is going to affect your credit score for 7 years, and then once it falls off your credit report, it's gone.
Yeah.
Your credit score doesn't know that happened anymore.
Yeah.
It's a new day.
I got one last one here before we cut loose here, and this is a state question.
Okay.
It's about California. I feel like every single state question is California.
California, New York, man.
I always want to be in the spotlight.
Yeah.
All
Very difficult.
right. So this is a question, and I didn't realize this was happening. I hope it's a typo, but Proposition 19 in California will cause our property taxes to increase from $1,800 a year to $30,000. I'm thinking there's an extra zero on there, but if I'm not, after my 90-year-old mother passes, the lease expires on June 30th, 2022. Can we legally raise our rent in San Diego by more than $2,000 a month? So maybe it's not, because then that would be a 200, that would be a 3, you know what I mean? But
yeah.
Can you legally raise $2,000 a month? And again, there's a cap.
Yeah. So
there's caps.
I'm stuck on the
whole raising of the rent or the property taxes. That's insane.
I know the property taxes. So what's happening is they're reassessing the property value. They're doing this all over the country. They're doing it in New York too.
Yeah.
They're reassessing the property values because if you've been around long enough, and you're a homeowner, that your assessed value, tax value, is not what the true value of the home is.
It looks like in this question though, because the 90-year-old mother passes.
Right. So if I'm not mistaken,
she's grandfathered in.
Right. So if I'm not mistaken,
grandmothered.
If I'm not mistaken, they have to base. So you basically are grandfathered in until the property sells. So if I had a property,
or the owner passes away,
owner passes away. So if I had a property for 20 years, and I was getting really low taxes when I sell it, they're going to do a reassessment based on the value of the home when I sold it,
right,
or whoever purchased it.
Yeah.
So that will sort of readjust it. So that
could be nuts.
That could be nuts, but that might actually make sense. What a nightmare! That's a nightmare.
But then
you can't raise the rent by that amount. You can't. But so lease expires. Can we legally raise our rent for a single family property by more than $2,000? So
$2,000 on top of what they're doing, or just
the easy answer is no.
More than $2,000 a month. Yeah, no, I don't think you can.
Yeah, so in California, the maximum annual cap is 5%.
But is that with somebody living in the place? So let's just say the $30,000 goes. This house now becomes a new rental home.
Yeah.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking too. If the mother passed away and now you're putting it on the market, and you're getting a new tenant,
there's nothing to refer back to as far as rent.
Yeah, the rent control is more
somebody that's already living there and they're trying to renew and you want to up the rent. You can only up the rent five.
It's to protect the occupant.
Right.
And what it's specifically, the reason why this was a huge deal, especially in California, San Francisco went crazy a couple of years ago where, Silicon Valley, everybody's moving into San Francisco.
Yeah.
Landlords start to realize, like, I'm charging $500 rent and I could be getting $2,500.
Yeah.
start kicking people out, start raising rents.
These guys are making some flow now. These coders and everything moving out there.
Yes. So
Yeah.
So yeah, if you turn that property over, you sign a new agreement.
Yep.
You should be able to get market value for that.
Yeah.
If not, and there's some sort of catch in that Prop 19 that I'm not aware of that ties it to what the historical rent there was.
Sure. Were you renting to? It sounds like they're renting to their mom.
Yeah, that's a nightmare. That's a nightmare. So anybody who out there who's renting to your mother's in California,
Raise the rent
raise the rent.
now.
Maybe you don't have to make her pay for it. Well,
Right.
take like a homemade soup as payment sometimes or something. But yeah, I'd like to look into that to see if there's if it carries over. But in my mind, there's no way that logically makes sense that you're going to turn the property over and you can't charge market value for it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, just with the tax increase alone, you gotta cover that.
You have to cover that.
I mean, that's significant.
Yeah.
So yeah, okay,
All right. Well, it's about that time.
that's it.
I think.
Do one more.
You want to do one more?
One more.
Does anybody want to throw something or a question real quick in the comments? Do it real quick before I take a look here. 3, 2,
They can't type fast
2.5. I can't. I'm a fast typer.
You're
I did
not.
that. I did that 10-finger.
What did you get? How many words per minute?
It's quality, not quantity.
How many words per minute?
I'm looking at proficiency. I was over 90%.
But how many words per minute?
I don't know. It was like 40.
Yeah. Okay. I'm pretty sure Joe. I know Christy in the office. Josh, our new marketing guy, he hit like what, 90 words per minute or something close to that?
No, not Josh.
Oh yeah, maybe not 90.
No.
But he was 90%. He did all right. Okay, so
Joe wants to know, what do you think about how you feel?
I think about it a lot.
Yeah?
Yeah. Last question. What do we got?
From Mary Lee, can I charge a tenant for almost 3 months of lost rent? If so, how do I go about the process?
Okay, I know what the question is, and if you remember this back from the old days, we used to do. So we were in the collection side of the industry, and we specifically would go after unpaid rent, broken lease money,
Yep.
and obtain judgments on them.
Yep.
Do you happen to remember the maximum amount we ever got for a broken lease? The maximum amount that I've ever seen awarded in the state of New York,
It was 3 months.
3 months.
Yeah.
And that was the exception, not the norm, I would say.
Yeah.
So what really matters is how long it takes to re-rent that property.
Yep.
If it takes you the full 3 months because everything is destroyed, and it's going to take that much time to turn it over, and you're able to show that to the court, then yeah, you're probably more likely to be able to get that 3 months, granted to you. If you're turning it over in a month, they're not going to grant you more than a month.
No.
Just, it's,
That's one of the questions they're going to ask you.
yeah. So,
Were you able to turn it over? How fast?
yeah. So
This is what you're going to get.
that every single time we would get judgments on behalf of our clients, that was the first thing that the judge is asking: is it re-rented? And if not, why?
Yeah.
What's the reason why it's not re-rented? How long has it been? If it's been 3 months, what
What have you been doing?
Right, there's got to be a reason for it. Well, they ripped the flooring out, and we've had to redo everything.
Yeah.
Then they're gonna make that exception. But if there's not a good reason for it, then they're not going to go above that 3 months. They're not going to go above however long it took you to re-rent it. So to answer that question, chances are not high.
Yeah. That
So
stinks.
yeah, it does stink. So
Well, I think that's it. Josh did 58 words a minute.
oh, and he for sure beat you. For sure.
Again, I like to take my time with stuff. Make sure it's done right.
You still type with one finger, like at a time, I think.
4.
Like this.
Like this.
Oh, two. That makes sense.
All right, guys. Thanks for stopping out. I think it's been another successful run here. Hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I'm not sure if we'll be back before Christmas or after Christmas.
For an AMA,
Yeah.
probably do a special Christmas AMA. Things are kind of weird right now because we've got half of the office out for doing remote working, trying to keep everybody safe, especially through the holidays.
Yeah.
So I think it just depends on schedules and things like that. And by the way, I just wanted to call you out. Josh exposed you. You are 42 words per minute.
So I'm better than what I did. I told you I was fast.
That's pretty good. 90% 90% accuracy though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right.
I think I only got like 2 words wrong.
That's not terrible.
No, it's not.
No.
Perfect. So, with that being said, lastly, right here, what we got? The winning slogan.
Oh yeah.
Remember we asked?
Yeah.
We wanted to come up with some slogans for coffee mugs and stuff like that, or T-shirts. Kind of see something different.
Prorate.
Prorated?
Not it.
Oh, not it.
Yeah, that wasn't it.
No, I know that wasn't it.
Yeah.
I thought you just said that was going to be it, and I was kind of pumped for a second there, and then you just flushed my dreams right down the toilet.
Yeah.
That's the winning slogan.
So the winning slogan is, together we can make your house a home. I don't hate it. What do you think?
Yeah, I don't hate it. I like the idea of it.
So Rent Prep, together we can make your house a home. I get it. Tell us your thoughts. If you're listening to this, and throw it in the chat. Rent Prep's new slogan.
Tell everybody to next time we come on to check us out.
That one's going to grow on me, I think. Together we can make your house a home.
A happy home.
You can't guarantee that.
A sad home.
That's probably easier to guarantee, but
We can't. How about this? We can't guarantee anything.
that's not good for business.
That's not good for business either.
Yeah.
All right, guys, we got to cut loose here. Phones are ringing. We got a debrief here. We're going to look into a couple different things here. That Prop 19 is one of them, and then just kind of monitor the Facebook page and look out for that next AMA. Any questions? Feel free to reach out to us. Shoot us an email. But it's always great getting together. And I think we got to end it with like stay classy, Rent Prep.
Oh, we do. We do need a good.
We need a Ron Burgundy ending.
We need a sign off, like an official sign off.
Perfect. What should be our official sign off? Throw that in. Let us know what our official sign off should be moving forward. What was Burgundy? Stay classy. You stay classy, San Diego.
Yeah.
What was the girls? Remember they used to go back and forth then?
Yeah. Hers was something about. That's the way
Thanks for stopping out. Thanks for stopping by.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
Stay classy. Stay classy, landlords.
Landlords? That doesn't flow.
No.
Felicia, making your house a home.
Yeah. I also like Christy Fellers was we help prevent disasters. That's pretty good.
I like that too. That's catchy.
Yeah.
What was the last one? Screeners.
Heading off screen now.
What?
Smell you later.
Smell you later, Rent Prep.
That's it.
All right, guys. Thanks again for stopping out.
Yep.
Take care. We'll see you in about a month.
Smell you later.
Smell you later.